They waltz into the semi-final of the Women's Asian Cup in 2026 with an all-important win over DPR Korea.
Well, there were some late nerves in Perth on Friday night as the Matildas beat DPR Korea, but they stood firm and secured their spot in the semi-finals of the Asian Cup and direct qualification to the Women's World Cup. Hello and welcome to our Asian Cup special edition of Dub Zone. I'm Amy Duggan and happy to be joined in the studio today by Melbourne City's Carly Rostbacken and by Melbourne Victory's Chelsea Blissett for the first time. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you both on the show. It was absolutely nerve-wracking on Friday night with big deep breaths and had to let out a sigh of relief at full time. Carly, how did you see the game?
Yeah, it was definitely desperation football. I mean, from the minute that whistle blew, the girls, they looked like they went into this game knowing what they had to do. Maybe they didn't want to play the exact football that they wanted to play, but they got bodies behind the ball, they were pressing, they were getting numbers in the box, and it was kind of no-nonsense football. And credit to them because DPR Korea, they did have a lot of the possession and they were up for it. They were playing this crafty football and they kept them out of the game for the whole 90 minutes.
Well, they are through to the final four, but they did have to withstand a barrage of shots, 21 in fact, throughout that game, Chelsea. But they got the points and moved through to the semis.
Yeah, they definitely did. I feel like our defence really tightened up from the last game. I think that everyone could see that maybe we looked a little bit nervy and unshaky in the game before, but everyone was, like Carly said, it was desperation football. Everyone was behind the ball. Everyone was defending together as a team and as a unit, and because they knew exactly what was on the line, and they got through and we got that automatic qualification.
Well, statistics tell a very different story to the score sheet, but it was Alanna Kennedy stepping up again in the 9th minute of this match, netting her 5th of the tournament, courtesy of some dogged play by Sam Kerr on the right flank. It actually looked like that ball was meant for Emily Van Egmond, but it was Alanna Kennedy with the sole role and finish.
No, it was a great finish, and credit to the Matildas. They had come out and they definitely pressed hard those first 10 minutes, especially of this first half, and they were rewarded for it for sure.
Beautiful technique, Carly.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And who else than Alanna Kennedy on this tournament? You know, you can call upon her and she's getting in these high areas yet again. It might have been meant for Emily Van Egmond, but she was in the right place.
Yeah, she certainly was, to rack up her 5th of the tournament. And then, of course, who else gets on the score sheet for Australia but Sam Kerr? Minnie Gorry here, chasing high on the press and stealing the ball, pouncing on a loose pass from DPR Korea's captain, Ann Kuk Hyang, and then Sam Kerr converting, absolutely clinical with that left foot.
Yeah, and it's not a place you give Sam Kerr the ball there. It is, personally, I think that is a very hard spot to try finish, especially with left foot, but it's Sam Kerr and she's just proven that, you know, it is taking her a little bit of time to get into the game, but I think this is the goal that she needed to build her confidence again.
Definitely not a player you want to give the ball to on the edge of the box, no. Chelsea, as a defender.
No, not at all. I think that if you're going to try and play out, you definitely don't try and do any of that near Sam Kerr. I think, like I said before, it was those first 10 minutes of both halves. They came out and just absolutely pressed them, and they got the ball to the right people. And, you know, Sam Kerr is so clinical, and that moment there is exactly why she's Sam Kerr.
And all credit to Katrina Gorry on the press there to win the ball in the first place and set her up. But that was what gave the Matildas the 2-0 advantage. At the other end, with this barrage of shots coming their way, it was Mackenzie Arnold that stood firm. She certainly had a work cut out for her on Friday night, making a total of 9 saves. DPR Korea had 9 corners to the Matildas 1. Carly, it's kind of fair to say Mackenzie was instrumental in this team advancing into the semi-finals.
Oh, definitely. If you didn't have her in goals, I mean, what could the scoreline have been? She was on fire. She was stopping everything. And you can see in this particular one here, she just looked like she was a step ahead and she was really reading the play. And every shot that they had, you know, they had 21 shots and she was just all over it. 21
shots, 10 on target, but Mackenzie remains our Minister of Defence for the moment.
No, she definitely does. And I think that was a massive question mark. Initially, were we going to have Mackenzie Arnold for this Asian Cup? And this is exactly why we needed her. She steps up in those big moments. And exactly why she's our Australian Minister of Defence is, she helped us get through this game 100%. She was so instrumental, just as much as like Sam and, Alana were in scoring those goals. Mac is the reason the other end got kept shut out.
Yeah, it was certainly nerve-wracking at the end of the game, that is for sure, but well done, Mackenzie Arnold. Let's hear now from our Australian captain and Australian coach, Joe Montemurro, who tells us there's still plenty more to come from this side.
Do we want to be better with the ball? Obviously, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But in tournament football, unfortunately, you've got to sometimes play the like-for-like sort of scenario and find a way and, and allow the world-class players like Sam and the others to do what they need to do. And they took the moments. At this level, it's all about moments. It's all about taking those moments. That's all it is.
I've played a lot of minutes in the last week that I hadn't played over the last few months, but I'm working towards getting there, and hopefully by the final, it's more about confidence and feeling now. I'm playing where I am, but I know that there's still moments in the game where I think I can turn, I can do more, but I've been obviously out for a while. I've got to find my feet again. I've got to find my confidence, and it's more a mental game now than anything, but goals like tonight and wins like tonight really help my confidence.
Yeah, some really interesting comments there from Sam Kerr, building into this tournament and building her confidence back into goal-scoring form that we all know she can do. But Joe Montemurro also talking about the team needing to take its chances, and they certainly did that in this knockout game.
Yeah, and that's something that, we didn't see in previous games. But the game on Friday, they had 4 shots, 2 on target, 2 goals. And in tournament football, you have to be ruthless. Like Joe said, it might not be the prettiest football, and yes, they've got things to build on. But, when it is knockout football, you got to do what you got to do, and that's what they did on Friday.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Carly in that exact moment, is that it is knockout football, and now we're not playing for points or playing for staying alive. And, it might not have been the prettiest football, but we convert those 2 chances and we defend like our life depends on it, and we get to go through. We now get to qualify for that World Cup, and we're still in the Asian Cup now. So, yeah, I definitely don't disagree with anything that Carly said.
Yeah, well, plenty more to come from the Matildas if you listen to Joe Montemurro, and as long as those wins keep coming, I think there'll be a lot of happy campers out there. There were also some happy campers at Coopers Stadium on Friday night. This was a really lovely touch. Adelaide United celebrated International Women's Day with a 2-1 win against Perth Glory in the Ninja A-League, and then they hosted a watch party at the stadium showing the Matildas quarter-final against DPR Korea on the big screen, while the players, you can see them here signing autographs and taking selfies with the fans. Carly and Chelsea, this is a timely reminder of how important it is to look after the fans that come to your games week in, week out. You would be doing this at the home of the Matildas and at Cyberpitch Stadium, no doubt.
No, of course. I think it's an expectation of us actually after every game is to stick around and, show our appreciation to the fans that come out and support us and watch our games, and make sure that, that we're signing things and talking to our fans and engaging with them, because they're the people that support us week in and week out. And I think that by doing that, we get to show those younger girls like what they can aspire to, and we get to sort of show everyone else like what our league is about by sticking around and engaging with our fans, because we don't have football without our fans.
Carly, you're signing a few autographs?
Yep, absolutely.
What's the weirdest thing you've had to sign?
Well, I recently got asked to do a tattoo.
Yeah, I've had that
I had to draw like a flower for, a really big fan of... She's actually a big fan of like a few of the girls in the league. Her name's Steph, and so I had to draw a flower. She's going to get tattooed, and I was a bit nervous about that though.
Not your signature though as well?
No, not my signature.
Oh, that's good.
But I just had to make the flower look good.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've had the same. I've had someone ask me last year if I could write a quote that they could get tattooed, and then just fans asking for sort of like player signatures on their arms or different body parts, or they want write quotes. And we've even had fans be like, can you please, my friend can't make it, can you do a video message and things like that. But that's what we do for our fans. They come and support us so much.
And then giving away your jerseys and all your boots as well.
Oh no, the boots.
They're a bit special. We'll keep those. Our Ninja A-League fans, absolutely special to this league and special to the players as well. It's a mutual win-win situation there. And when we're speaking of the Ninja A-League, of course, Alanna Kennedy was built in the Ninja A-League, hailing from Campbelltown, the Golden Boot leader in the Asian Cup at the moment, a fan favourite during her time in the Ninja A-League. Let's have a little look at some of her handiwork in our domestic competition.
It's Alanna Kennedy, and it's a pinpoint strike! Game on at Jubilee! Alanna Kennedy marks her return to the W League with a brilliant goal. Kennedy, right-footed, and there it is! She is an absolute gun. Alanna Kennedy with a right-foot master strike puts Sydney ahead. And Glory must surely have talked about this before the game, Jamie, not to give away free kicks there, because she is lethal.
Alanna Kennedy there, built in the Ninja A-League. Her junior club, the Campbelltown Cobras Soccer Club. Of course, Alana has 146 caps and 17 goals and counting, no doubt, throughout this competition for the Matildas these days. A defender at the London City Lionesses, and won't they be expecting more than the one goal she's scored this season when she returns? But she's also had stints at Sydney FC, the Wanderers, Melbourne City, the Jets and Glory. Have either of you ever graced the field with Alana?
I haven't had the pleasure of, but I think you have, Carl.
Yeah, not in the A-League or anything, not in Clubland, but I did get to play alongside her in the Matildas for the few caps that I have, and she's a great player, Alana, and you can see that in this tournament. She's just building on it. I don't know if I'd classify her as a centre-back anymore. I don't know if London City Lionesses will either.
Well, she certainly is, or was, an imposing centre-back. Where she'll play from now on, we'll all have to see with that knack for scoring goals. The Matildas will take on China PR in their semi-final in Perth Tuesday night. They defeated Chinese Taipei on Saturday 2-0. Neither side could break the deadlock in regulation time. It was 23-year-old striker here, Xingqing Xiao, who opened the scoring for the Steel Roses 3 minutes into extra time. And what a strike it was from the top of the box. Then it was an own goal, of course, by Chinese Taipei's Chen Yunhu before the full-time whistle sealed the deal for Ante Milicic's team. Now, Ante, of course, has a bit of a history with Australian players. How are we sizing up this China outfit ahead of the semi-final and they're taking on the Tillies?
Yeah, I think Ante knowing the girls is going to obviously help him. But in saying that, it was 7 years ago when he was in charge of this team, and the girls are in better places from when they were under him. You know, they've got a lot of the players now at the biggest clubs in the world who are training with the best players. So although he will know what to expect, I also don't think he knows how much they've grown maybe potentially, and he won't fully know what he's going to come up against because these players have grown a lot in the last 7 years.
He's had this Chinese team for quite a while now. They copped a hiding from England at the end of last year. Ante's managed to stay with the team through until the Asian Cup. What have you thought of their form so far in this competition?
Well, I think they were unlucky actually not to have scored any goals in, just regulation time. I'm not surprised that they scored 2 goals in extra time. They were pushing. Chinese Taipei, to their credit, really kept them out and they defended like their life depended on it. But at the end of the day, I thought China were too good and they definitely deserve to go through, and they will be hard to play against.
Wang Shuang will be missing one of their key playmakers due to suspension from accumulated yellow cards, and a player that assistant coach Emily Husband will be very familiar with after her time at the Central Coast Mariners is Wuri Gamola, who played 25 games for the Mariners in their return season in the 23-24 season. She scored 8 goals in that campaign. Carly, she will be one of many threats on Tuesday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone to look out for, no doubt. I remember, playing against her and thinking she's very strong, powerful, she's clinical as well. So it is someone that they're going to have to try shut down and essentially eliminate her from the game.
You would have defended against her, Chelsea.
Yes, I did. And I just remember that, like Carly said, she was just like fast and powerful, and she was clinical, and she was very strong. Like, she was a very formidable force up front, and she's definitely someone that we had to watch out for when we were playing them. So I think that if she gets an opportunity to play against the Matildas, they'll have to do the same.
Be a good matchup, our defenders versus Warragumula up front for China. Well, let's get your tips on that game at the end of the show, because right now, here's a reminder to start collecting your Ninja A-League Women Heroes digital card collection for free. You can head to aleagues.com.au/heroes to register, unlock the 7 complimentary player cards just so far, and go in the draw to win one of 3 epic prizes, including tickets to the final series, signed player jerseys, and a range of Ninja products. Carly, I'm still yet to see your card on the screen.
So am I.
And Chelsea, you need to get onto your clubs. We want to see the Carly Ross-Backen and Chelsea Blissett
I'd
hero
love to
cards,
see my own
please.
player card.
Absolutely. I'll have yours.
I'll sign it. You sign mine. Yeah. All right, deal.
Well, you two will be, you were back on the paddock after a 2-week international break on the weekend, and both on the winners list, which is wonderful. Chelsea, let's start with you, because Melbourne Victory obviously pulled off a 1-0 win over the Western Sydney Wanderers, and you were the assist getter in this one. Look at this long ball, left foot curling around the defence to Kennedy White there, who has her shot saved, and Holly Furphy putting it away on the left foot.
Yeah, I just remember we'd been working on that all week at training, whether that be a ball from deep or a ball like crossed in for Ken, and obviously Ken was unlucky not to be able to put that in the back of the net, but Holly was just in the right place at the right time, and she was really clinical in that moment, and we definitely needed those 3 points moving forward in our last 2 games.
What is that connection like with Kennedy White? Because you guys are housemates.
Yeah.
What is a day in the life of Kennedy White like?
Well, I think every morning starts with a vanilla iced latte and like clockwork. But it's actually really fun. So Ken and I live in a house with 2 other girls in our team, and getting to kind of spend every day together, I think, sometimes can be a lot when it's like 4 girls in a house, but it's so much fun and we all have a good time. And Ken is such a wonderful person. She's so kind-natured, and she's very humble, and she's just such a hard worker. And as you can see there, she's fast and she's powerful, and she's such a great striker. And she's definitely someone that, Victory was very lucky to bring into the squad this year.
Yeah, very lucky to have someone like you feeding her balls like that. That's a dream, isn't it, Carly? Whipping it around the back of the entire defence.
Fullback, yeah.
As a fullback, I think I've spent hours working on whipped balls like that, and I think if you're a left footer, I think that's what's expected of you, especially as more of like an attacking fullback. You got to put those balls in all those good areas.
I was just kind of curious where you were during the celebration.
I think I was celebrating A with Jeff, and B catching my breath, because I think the play before that I think ran like all the way down to sort of defend something, and ended up being offside anyway. So I was like jogging my way back up, got that ball off Kay, hit the ball, praying it went in the back of the net, and I was like, all right, I just need 5 seconds before I go and join in with everyone else.
A couple of deep breaths.
Just a couple of deep breaths, a bit of a sigh of relief, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I took a deep breath, and I'm sure there were a few gasps around the stadium too for this next moment that we picked out from the Wanderers. What about this? 17-year-old Talia Yunus with the audacity to try the rainbow flick against the Victory.
I know. I think, honestly, I was super surprised when she kind of whipped that out, especially against someone who can defend really, really well like Taylor. I think she's done really well in this moment, and to be 17 and playing with that much confidence and that much like style, like she has a swagger to her when she gets on the field. And honestly, when I was 17, I probably wouldn't have had the audacity to do that, but props to her. Like, she's really come into herself this season, and she plays really great football, and she's such a tidy player. And if she's going to try, like, she may as well. Like, what's the harm in doing that?
It's just a shame it didn't come off for a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to do that, like you said, against Taylor, who is a solid defender, it just reminds me of a kid playing football, and she's just trying things, and that's the exact moment, the exact area of the pitch where you try those things. And yeah, it's unlucky that it didn't amount to anything, but if she keeps on doing this, wherever she ends up, she's gonna, take football by its storm.
Well, she certainly will. And let's now hear from 17-year-old Talia Yunus, who's playing with some passion and some flair, and it seems thanks to her big brother.
Well, funny enough, I was watching my brother's highlights before the game. I always do before each game, and he kind of just influences me, motivates me to do that sort of stuff. So I did it, and I'm happy it kind of worked.
Yeah, very neat.
Honestly, we just love watching each other play, and it just brings us back to when we were little and kicking the ball in the backyard. So honestly, just play with freedom, and he always tells me to just play with freedom and do my best. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
She certainly did that, play with freedom, and brought us her best one for the highlight reel, that is for sure. Just not the win on the weekend. You're a winner though, Carly, with a come-from-behind win over Canberra United on the weekend. Talk us through the match and how you saw it.
Yeah, we'll take those 3 points though, because it took us a while to get into the match. After 60 minutes, we scored this goal. And credit to Canberra, they were putting us under the pump, especially in the first half.
Aideen Keane getting up here over her old team. There's a bit of added motivation there, isn't there?
Oh, 100%. I think Aideen, she got injured before the last Canberra game, and I remember her saying to me that she really wanted to play this game and start. And now she's come out and she scored this goal. And she was unbelievable when she came on.
Well, Chinaza Uchendu coming on, 2 goals in 4 minutes. That's what you want to see from a super sub, isn't it?
Oh, super sub. Yeah, she is absolutely unreal. To hit those goals, especially the second one, I don't know how she did it.
Well, she did it because she has feet like this that allow her to move like this. What is going on? A little dance-off.
Yeah, she's our little dancer in the team. She's got the moves. She's taught me how to do a few moves. Not whipping them out here, though. But she is, I don't know, she has great soul, and when she plays football, she's playing with freedom, and she's a bit of our cheat code. She's so strong. We give her the ball, and I don't think there's many players that can push her off the ball. And when she comes on and she scores goals like that, yeah, I have no words for that, because that was just unreal.
Canberra, of course, will be disappointed with not picking up all 3 points, but in some good news for them, Bethany Gordon again on the score sheet for Canberra. They've had these moments of magic throughout the season. Sasha Grove putting this beautiful ball in for Bethany to get on the end of. They're just missing the clinical finishes.
Yeah, and Sasha Grove, she has been phenomenal this season at Canberra. It was a lovely ball in, and, being a City player, we don't want to concede a goal like that. But Canberra, they're quite ruthless in the sense of how they're playing. They might not be clinical, but the way that they're moving the ball and they're attacking, they're really aggressive. And playing them yesterday, especially the first half, it did feel like they had majority of the ball, and they were unlucky to probably score. And Stoddy did a goal line clearance for us. But yeah, they are a very hard team to play against. I've always found that with Canberra.
Yeah.
And I guess a great opportunity for other players to get on the score sheet yesterday, with no Holly Mack for Melbourne City and no Michelle Heyman for Canberra United, which kind of begs the question as we move forward. We haven't seen a whole lot of our Ninja A-League stars out there for the Matildas at the moment. Do you think, as we're so deep in the competition now, that we're going to actually see them get some more minutes as we move through the competition?
I mean, it is a question. As we're in tournament football and we progress, if he hasn't used them in, say, the easier games, you do essentially use your best starting 11. And he does have that question. He has a lot of players that he could probably put on that pitch and start. But like we have discussed before, he definitely would have an ideal starting 11. And it's going to be very hard for them to maybe get some minutes now, because it is knockout football. But I mean, I would love to see, Holly come on, Michelle come on. I think they're both really great players that can come on and impact a game, especially if they need a little bit of magic. So I would definitely back them to come on.
And get the job done. All right, well, let's check out all the other results from round 19 of the Ninja A-League. As we mentioned, Adelaide United getting that 2-1 win over Perth Glory in Adelaide. The Jets with a big win over Sydney FC. Mackenzie Hawkesby was first to hit the back of the net there for Sydney, but the Jets came home stronger. The Phoenix with a comprehensive win over Brisbane Roar, although it was great to see Tamiki Yallop coming off the bench and getting some minutes for Brisbane Roar late in the match. Melbourne Victory with that 1-0 win, and Melbourne City with that 3-1 win. That takes us to the ladder, of course, and it is Melbourne City that still sits on top, 4 points clear of Adelaide United. Wellington, Canberra, Melbourne Victory and Perth Glory complete the top 6, and there's plenty of competition just outside the finals places at the moment, with the Central Coast Mariners, Brisbane and Newcastle all within striking distance. Plenty more football still to come though, Carly, because you guys have a midweek match against Adelaide United. This one's at Control Cyber Pitch, but it is 1v2 on the ladder.
Yeah, it's another top of the table clash back to back. Adelaide, they're in phenomenal form at the moment, and we played them not that long ago, and they did get the win over us. I think on Wednesday, we're ready. We learnt from that game, but we know that they're going to come out firing because they want to knock us off. They're only 4 points behind. And like I said, they've been in great form, so it's going to be a very hard match as it is 1v2.
Well, let's take a look because they are in fine form. 4 wins on the trot, which would be a club record for the team. They had come from behind against the Perth Glory at Coopers on Friday night. Rolla Batawira opening the scoring in the 11th minute. Goals from Fiona Wirtz and Sarah Morgan either side of half-time righted the ship for Adelaide. So are we expecting a pretty tough battle up front for you on the midweek game, Carly?
Yeah. They've got players like Erin Healy, and you saw Sarah score a great goal. So it's going to be very tough. They've got Fiona Wirtz as well, who has been quite clinical. They've got great strikers, and it is going to be a tough game. They've got great runners in behind, but if we can be tight, if we can close them down, hopefully we can see out the game and it goes our way.
Chelsea, playing against a front three like this is always tough. You can say you want to mark Fiona Wirtz, or you can say you want to mark Erin Healy out of the game, but there's still support players coming through with plenty of quality as well.
No, Adelaide are a well-oiled machine, and I think these guys have been playing together for so long, and they've added some absolute firepower to their team. They've got the Tarantos now, and like Erin Healy and Fiona Wirtz, and I think they're starting to build their minutes now, and they're starting to come more closer together as a team. And you can just tell by the way that they play together. They have such a style and of play. Plus, they're also they're super aggressive. They're on the front foot. They know what they want to do. They're really good at picking that opposite 10 in the pocket, which I remember when we played them, it was a really hard thing to shut down because they always felt like they had a one extra in the midfield. So definitely not jealous that you've got them this week.
And I'm pretty sure Carly's taking notes right now from all the things that you just said so they get it right on the weekend. But Chelsea, you guys have got a bye this weekend and then you're back for the Big Blue clash against Sydney FC. They're out of finals contention now. Doesn't mean you can take it easy though. They lost 3-1 to the Jets in Newcastle on Friday. Mackenzie Hawkesby, as we mentioned, scored first in this match, but the Jets then took control. The last time the Big Blue was head-to-head. It was 0-0 at the home of the Matildas. That was in January. As we said, it's been a very tough season for Sydney, but they always seem to lift against victory.
I always think a Big Blue is one of those games where I think it becomes irrelevant where everyone is on the ladder. It's almost like a derby in a way where it becomes irrelevant about where you're sitting or what's on the line. I think mid-season it becomes about playing for pride and playing in a derby like that. I think especially with where Sydney are sitting on the ladder, you definitely don't take them lightly. They also now have nothing to play for, which makes them just as more dangerous as anyone else. When you're playing a team that really has nothing to lose, they can play with the freedom now. They can play with a sense of, I wouldn't say enjoyment, but they can play without the pressure, which makes teams like that just as dangerous. And we're playing for a spot in finals football, so we have that pressure on us. It's going to come from it's going to make for an interesting game. It
certainly will. And credit to Newcastle, Sophie Hoban there with the double in that match. They're quietly climbing the ladder and a quiet threat from afar, aren't they, Carly?
Yeah, they are. And Newcastle
sneaking up on teams.
Oh, sneaking up on teams, definitely. And that's, a scary thing when teams are kind of climbing under the nose.
Not really paying attention, but getting the results, and here they come.
And they creep in and they're hurting teams, and they hurt us when we played them. So we have them the last round as well. So it's going to be an interesting match for that too.
And when we played Newcastle probably maybe a month ago now, that was not an easy game. Newcastle are a very good side, and just almost a little bit like Adelaide, they're very they're like a well-oiled machine. Is they have a game plan, they know what they want to do, and they have that sort of firepower with Sophie and Melina Ayres. And if you get them on the wrong day, they're going to hurt you. And they are coming, 4 teams, and they're creeping up the ladder, and they're going to be a formidable force when it comes to finals.
Well, it'll be a very interesting end to the Ninja A-League with just a few rounds remaining. But let's swing our attention back to the AFC Women's Asian Cup now, and the match Australia taking on China on Tuesday night. We asked you, how will the Tillies fare against the Steel Roses and the defending champions in our poll poll on the A-League socials. Here are the results. They are the Matildas to win in 90. 67% said this should be the result. The Matildas in extra time, 16%. Matildas in penalties, no thank you, 6%. and China seems to have 12% of the vote out there that they're going to get the win. Where do you guys sit in this poll?
I actually think that we're going to get the win in normal time. I think that we're going to take the learnings from last game and we're going to analyse them from the game that they played against Chinese Taipei. And I think that we have the quality to be able to beat them in normal time.
Carly, all the cards on the table. Who wins and why?
I think the Tillies will get it done. I think it's going to be a very similar game to DPR Korea in the way that China plays and the way that Matildas, they turn up in big games. And I think it's going to be desperation football again. It's going to be, can they be clinical again? I think they will. And I'm going to go with a 2-0 scoreline.
Yeah, I was going to go with 2-1.
2-0 and 2-1. Either way, the Matildas will get it done. All the action, of course, coming to you from Perth live on 10 and Paramount Plus Tuesday night. The pre-game show is from 8 p.m. Eastern with kick-off an hour later at 9 p.m. and we will all be cheering very loudly for our Tillies to make it through to the final of the Asian Cup. Maybe where we'll meet Japan, one would suspect. That is all we have time for in today's show. Carly Rossbacken, Chelsea Blissett, thank you for your time in the studio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, we'll be back here on Wednesday in the studio for another special AFC Dub Zone episode. Until then, let's hope for the Tillies win. I'm Amy Duggan. See you next time.